10 things you should know before owning a French Bulldog. Hey there! Has some French Bulldog stolen your heart and you're ready to commit to it for the rest of its life? Well, before you make the big purchase, Top Best Pets is here to tell you some things that you should know before owning a French Bulldog. Before we begin, make sure you smash the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to stay connected to our channel. Now, let's get to it. Number 10. The French Bulldog should be good with your kids. The French Bulldog is an especially pleasant breed with regards to kids. This is one of the primary reasons why the Frenchie has gotten so well known with families over the past couple of years. The way they look got people talking about them, and they are an attractive choice for anyone looking for a new addition in their family. Like all dogs, you can stack things in your favor by acquainting the French Bulldogs with your kids at an early age. The kids need to be directed during play, and they ought to be instructed on how to communicate with these dogs. It's a two-way road, and on the off chance that the youngster is by and large awkward with the creature, the dog may feel anxious, threatened, and possibly bite. As long as the kid is delicate, plays well, and is considerate to the dog, they can and undoubtedly foster an awesome and involved friendship. Number 9. The French Bulldog should be good with other animals. The French Bulldog is normally simpler to acquaint with different pets than others. But of course, as a rule, even if the breed itself can get along with other creatures, it doesn't mean that yours specifically will. You gotta be careful when presenting two dogs to each other. You can't simply put them in a room together and expect them to just get along immediately. You gotta ease them in and get them comfortable with each other. Allow them to sniff and get to know each other, and if they get restless, keep them separated. And don't let them meet for the rest of the day. You gotta do this a couple of times, give them a little freedom, and of course, put them in a similar house together. This entire process will take some time, but since the French Bulldog does get along with other dogs quickly, it won't be that hard. Number 8. The French Bulldog doesn't really need a lot of exercise. Another reason as to why they're so famous is that they're pretty different from your normal dog breed. They don't need a lot of exercise. If you rate it from 1 to 10, where 10 is a dog that requires a lot of long strolls, the French Bulldog is most likely around 1. Making it a great dog for the individual who lives in a condo or for the people who can't really get out as much. That doesn't mean that the French Bulldog is lazy. A long way from it, actually. Sure, they love nestling with you at the couch, but they do love moving around at practically the speed of sound. But of course, there is a reason as to why they don't exercise as much, but we're gonna address that later when talking about the French Bulldog's inborn medical issues. So do manage them when giving them a little bit of exercise. You need to constantly monitor their breathing, and if you find any indication of unease or exhaustion, you need to pause and allow your French Bulldog to cool down. Number 7. They love to play. Perhaps it's more like they love to spend time with you. The French Bulldog loves to play and invest energy with you. Their entire life spins around you, and if you're in the mood for playing, they will be as well. They're pretty shameless and naughty, and in the event that they can get a response from you, they will. Even if that response isn't something you'd like to give to them, it makes no difference to them either way. Number 6. The French Bulldog can have health problems. The French Bulldog has medical conditions. This is known to a lot of people, and yet there's more and more French Bulldogs at a steadily expanding rate. So it's best for a person who wants one to understand what these health conditions are. You gotta know what you're getting yourself into. And you have to understand this is also for the protection of the dog that you want to buy. Because in the end, all dogs have some sort of health issue, but the French Bulldog has a little too much, and you gotta put that into consideration for the sake of both your finances and the dog you're purchasing. Because this might end up being too much for a lot of people. But also remember, the delight you'll get when you have a healthy French Bulldog, it honestly merits the risk. Number 5. They're unable to mate naturally. Only a few individuals outside French Bulldog groups know this. They're a breed that can't mate normally. This is down to the size of their hips. On the off chance that you were wondering why a French Bulldog is so expensive, this is the main consideration. It costs a ton of money to raise a Frenchie and implies a great deal of hazard for the breeder. For example, a stud must be found, and the female will be artificially inseminated with the stud's sperm, which costs money, and there is no assurance that the female will get pregnant. And at that point, there are x-rays and checkups that the vet must perform. Lastly, she won't conceive offspring normally, so a C-section will be required. And once again, that costs a lot of money. Because it's not just going to be the vet in question, but an entire team, with some of the colleagues having to check up on the pups after getting birth. Number 4, the French Bulldog should be trained. This could be said for any dog breed, but if you have the opportunity, you ought to train your French Bulldog. This is important since you've already spent the money in getting one. You have to make sure that your Frenchie is thoroughly trained. Don't think of it as disciplinary action because your French Bulldog will receive as much benefits as you. Like all dogs, they need to understand where they are in the pack or, your family. And going through proper training will empower you and your dog and smooth over any attitude problems that you might encounter in the future. Number 3, the French Bulldog can't swim. This is important. We put it on the list because that might be something some people won't appreciate. Yeah, the French Bulldog can't swim. The Frenchie ought to be viewed as something like a child when introduced with water. You wouldn't leave your child near any large bodies of water, nor should you leave your French Bulldog in the same situation. One solution to this is to utilize a doggy life jacket, but even with them wearing this, you shouldn't 100% trust it and leave them solo. Number 2, the French Bulldog is unable to regulate its temperature. Because of this breed's short nose, they can experience difficulty breathing and can't control their temperature. This can cause them some intense issues in blistering weather. Numerous aircraft have appropriately prohibited French Bulldogs from trips, as regrettably, there have been fatalities brought about by high temperatures inside the plane hold preceding takeoff. This is completely understandable and it's not hard to not notice it. Be that as it may, if you're playing with them outside, they will joyfully go around for a long time. During this time, their temperature will increase. Unlike other dogs, they can't regulate this. In the long run, this can turn out to be extremely dangerous. Number 1, they have a good lifespan. Even when considering the medical issues that we've referenced a couple of times in this article, you will have your Frenchie around for quite a while. The normal life expectancy of a French Bulldog differs depending on who you ask, and the common answer is anything from 8 to 14 years. The American Kennel Club claims 11 to 13 years, and the UK Breeding Club says 12 to 14. So the numbers are pretty spread out. So if you're just going to put it on average, it's most likely around 11 to 12 years, right? Which is honestly a sensible lifespan. For others, it's excessively short. And honestly, I wouldn't blame them. Pets are basically members of the family, and 12 years sometimes isn't enough for a family to spend time with you. So these are the things that you need to know before committing yourself into buying a French Bulldog. Make your decision wisely so you can give your pet its best life. Thank you for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and stay tuned to Top Best Pets for more related content.